This is a continuation of the Nature of Evil series. This is part 5, where we're further looking into the evil of voting. That is a great action to look at and to really help people understand how something which is apparently on the surface simple and not evil, how it actually is an evil thing. And the topics we're covering today is my current definition of evil, intentional omission, the spectrum of evil with support and causation, how one's actions are inseparable from the quality of their character, that evil is still evil regardless of your want, if you want to be evil or not, how capacity to understand your actions plays a significant role on whether or on the immorality or morality of one's actions, and lowest common denominator for actually understanding. They're some of the topics we're covering today. So my working definition of evil at the moment is the causing or supporting of cruelty. That's just a definition I have. Definitions are really hard to make, to get extremely accurately, but that is how I'm defining evil with this. Is that subject to update? Yes, it is, but that's the best I've got so far. Causing or supporting cruelty, you could add on to it, or some kind of immorality. But let's just narrow it down and keep it specific to that. Causing or supporting cruelty. That is what evil is. And so people have a troubling time understanding how voting for a political party is evil. What they don't seem to grasp is the causal connection between voting and all the crimes that are committed by this tyrannical regime and government. Because as we know at this point, as you should, a government is an evil, oppressive system, which I've explained in countless other videos in many different ways. If you don't understand that yet, go back and watch all those other dozens and dozens of videos from myself, and then hundreds of other videos I've got in playlists from others explaining that in great detail. Causes have effects, and effects have causes. When you vote, you are saying, I support what the people I'm voting for are doing. There's a direct causal relationship there. You are supporting crimes. Let's just keep it to tax. That's it. Forget about everything else. Forget about everything else. I'm not expecting anyone else to have the same level of understanding of exactly what's happening as I do. Other professionals who study this for a living. That's unreasonable, and I'm not expecting anyone to have that kind of deep grasp of what's really happening when they're casting a vote for a tyrannical regime. And every government is a tyrannical regime. If it's not a tyrannical regime, it's not a government then. How do we know a government is a tyrannical regime? Tax. That's all you need to know. You don't need to go any further than that. Because what is tax? It is theft. It is robbery. It's saying if you don't give us what we want in the form of money, we, the people, the police and politicians have legitimate right, the legal, pseudo-legitimate right, to hurt you. So whenever you are voting, you are supporting theft, kidnap, assault, imprisonment, and murder. Cause, effect. Your vote is supporting and acting as an indirect cause, giving power to these politicians and the police who are going to hurt you and me and the person voting. It's not a complex thing to understand. It is a very simple thing to understand. The lowest common denominator person, the dumbest person in the world, still has the ability to grasp that very, very simple causal connection. Voting for any kind of political party means supporting taxation. Taxation is a crime. It's a fancy word for theft. I don't have the right to steal from someone, to hold up a gun and say, give me 50% of your income. 5%, 1%, 0.1%. I can't do that. You can't do that. The voter, none of us can do it. We don't have that right individually or collectively. We cannot delegate a right we do not have to anyone else. It doesn't matter if you have 10 billion trillion people. There's nothing you can possibly do to make a wrong become a right. A wrong is a wrong. It's a violation of the golden rule of equity. It's a violation of logic, how you want to be treated. No one in government wants to be stolen from. No one who actually understands that concept says, oh yeah, I'm happy to be stolen from. Well, you're not being stolen from then. It's a donation. You don't need to be forced to donate. A donation is given freely. These people who think they're contributing with their taxation, they're very confused. They don't understand. They are being forced to pay tax. If there was no force, no threat of death, assault, imprisonment, kidnapping, they wouldn't be doing it. People pay tax because they're terrified, and they are intentionally omitting the chain of actions to understand what they're doing. It's purposeful, deliberate blindness, willful ignorance. It's a rejection of reality. It's volitionally choosing not to know. That's what's evil. People try to hide behind these defenses and say, well, people who vote, they think they're doing the right thing. They've got good intentions. They want to make the world a better place. They're not voting for the politicians and police to do evil things. But that's my point. It does not take a genius to understand what's happening there. I understood this when I was 10 years old, implicitly, not explicitly. But how can you not understand being made to pay people money under threat of death is evil? That's wrong. And if you are choosing not to understand that, you are evil as well. You are on that spectrum of evil. Evil isn't just Palpatine, Donald Trump, people who knowingly do the wrong thing. It's also knowingly avoiding the understanding of what you're doing, which is wrong. In the previous videos, I gave the example of Shrek farting. That was pretty funny. In this video, I give an example of someone who is burning tires in his backyard and junk and poisonous shit every day. And he's poisoning everyone in his community, including his own family and himself. And everyone around him is saying, Gary, stop, mate. You have to stop. You're hurting people. And he says, no, I'm not hurting anyone. This is bullshit. And he's coughing up phlegm and blood and he's getting sick and people are dying. He's saying, no, it's not me. It's not me. And they're saying, Gary, you are burning poisonous shit in your backyard and that is affecting all of us. Stop it. If you continue, you're evil. This is an evil thing to do, to not recognize and understand the consequences of your actions. It's not a complex thing to do. We're not saying you fully have to study and understand how burning plastic gets into people's lungs and causes harm. Just recognize the causal relationship here, the connection. Burning toxic shit, black smoke in the air, people coughing, you and your family are getting the worst because you're closer, you have proximity. It's the same thing with taxation. Anytime you are voting for any government, you are causing a crime. You are supporting crime. You are supporting a criminal mafia gangster syndicate. Like that is obvious. That is stupidly obvious. The lowest common denominator, the most stupid person of sound mind that is an adult, not including people who are actually retarded, who, I don't know, have autism or schizophrenia or some kind of debilitating disease, Alzheimer's, whatever it is. I mean, people of sound mind over the age of 18, and even then, between 18 and 15, you give them leeway because you say, well, you're so young and stupid, what are you to know? But even then, how many times does someone need to do the wrong thing before they realize, hold on, this is wrong? It's like drunk driving. Maybe you get away with the first few times, but you have to understand the probability of you causing injury to yourself, your property, other people's property, or other people's life, not just injury, but death, is extremely probable. And each time you drunk drive, it becomes more and more probable that the next time is the time you are actually going to cause some serious harm. It's showing a conscious disregard for life, your own and others. Legally, it can be called depraved heart or implied malice. It's showing a blatant disregard for the consequences of one's actions. It's very probable someone is going to cause harm while drunk driving repeatedly. And I'm saying drunk driving, not drink driving, so I'm being specific. Drunk driving. Drunk driving is a high probability of causing harm. Burning poisonous material in your backyard every day, that's a certainty that you're going to cause harm. Voting is a certainty that you are causing harm. It's not a probability, it's not likely, it's not maybe, it's an actual yes. You are guaranteed, certainly, supporting harm. You are supporting a group of people who form an organization and they hurt people for a living. They threaten and hurt people. They steal from you, from me, from the voter, from everyone for a living. That's what they do. They're a tyrannical, oppressive, evil regime that disguises itself as necessary order, which again, as I've explained in so many other videos, can be rebutted so easily. It is incoherent nonsense. You do not have order that way. People try and say, well, I only vote because I want an orderly, peaceful society. Okay, good. If that's what you want, step one, stop supporting people who are thieves, robbers, murderers, burglars, bad guys. Stop wanting to steal and kill people. It's not complicated. I mean, the whole system of what replaces government, that can be a little bit complicated. But step one, you do not have order by supporting chaos, by supporting evil. It is nonsensical. It does not make sense. It's a non sequitur in logic. I want order, therefore I support chaos. No, non sequitur. It does not follow. No computation here. Does not make sense. You cannot get that result. A nice way to put it is a little bit of propositional logic I have here. A equals B, B equals C, C equals D, D equals E. And I'll show you. So proposition A is that voting, and my propositional Aristotelian syllogism logic isn't perfect. I still got a lot of work to do on that. But bear with me. This is the basics here. Voting, so A equals voting is supporting a group of people who believe they have the right to take what they want from you and hurt you if you refuse. That's what government is. And voting is supporting that group of people. So A is that. A equals B. B is the actuality. You support that system, and support comes in verbal, written, and financial, where you give backing and support. B is those people actually do take what they want and hurt you and others if you refuse. So A is the voting to support those bad guys. B is the bad guys actually doing the bad things. C is causing or supporting theft, kidnapping, assault, imprisonment, and murder is evil. D equals voting is supporting the above crimes. And E, if one supports above crimes, they are evil. So basically, to simplify that, it's saying A equals E. If one votes, they are supporting those crimes, they are evil. Because voting is supporting a system which commits those crimes. You know, I'm bamboozled that I have to spell this out. That I really have to spell it out because people don't understand it. It's crazy. It really is crazy. It's not a big leap. It's a tiny, tiny conceptual understanding. Perhaps it's not as obvious as someone burning at the stake right in front of you, because here's another example. The Salem witch trials, women being burnt at the stake. You can have the two people who grab her, tie her up into the stake. They're causing that death, that torture. But all the other people standing around clapping and cheering, yes, burn her, burn her. They are still evil because they are supporting that poor woman. Whatever she's done, it doesn't matter what crime she committed. No one deserves to burn at the stake, not even the cabal. No one deserves to be burnt at the stake. No one. That's ridiculous. That's stupid. That's evil. Doesn't matter how evil they are, no one deserves to be burnt at the stake. So people who are supporting anyone else being burnt at the stake are also evil when you're supporting. And that's what voting is doing. It's supporting government. It may not be the police themselves knocking on the door, sending the letters, pointing the guns, beating people up, throwing them into handcuffs, headlocking them, putting them down if they resist, locking them up forever if they decide to go peacefully or willingly. Sure, they're not doing that, and you can argue you could argue that is more evil, the actual boots on the ground, taking those actions. I probably would say it is more evil, but it's still absolutely on the spectrum of evil to support that cruelty, because government is a cruelty. What is a cruelty? It's causing harm, pain, suffering unjustifiably, unnecessarily. It's like when you slaughter an animal to eat it, that's not cruel. If you kill it as quickly as possible for the purposes of survival, that's not cruel. If you take your time with it and you're deliberately extending its pain and suffering, well then that's cruel. Cruelty is the unnecessary and unjustifiable causal of suffering and pain. That's what a government does. There is no way to justify a monopoly. You can't justify it. You just can't objectively justify it. As I've said in many other videos, explained in great detail. When a child tortures an animal, it's an evil act, but the child doesn't have the capacity to understand that it whacked a dog over the head with a beer bottle, or, I don't know, killed a cat or something, cuddled a kitten too hard and it killed it, whatever. It doesn't have the capacity, say under the age of 5, to understand, hey, you shouldn't be doing that. It's an evil act. But the child doesn't have the capacity to understand. An adult does have the capacity to understand. So you can't say, well, how are they expected to know? How are they meant to know the government is evil? Well, it's not hard to understand. It's not hard. It's so simple, the lowest common denominator. The dumbest person still has the intellectual capacity for reason to make that causal connection. Voting equals supporting a system of people who are going to steal. Stealing is bad. I can't do it. You can't do it. We can't do it. It's not right. But I'm still going to support these robbers? That's evil. You don't need to think about that. It's so obvious. Again, I understood this shit at 10. I would crack the shits at my dad and be like, as if it was his fault. I'm not saying someone needs to understand everything about the evil of government. I'm saying just that one tiny little aspect, because that's all you need to know. That's wrong. Stop voting. Stop doing it. And if by some miracle someone really is that stupid or so segregated from the rest of society, they've never heard an alternative idea, they've never had an idea that's not indoctrinated by the mainstream system ever go past their ears. Let's say in that miracle, it's not reality, because of course everyone's heard at least someone saying taxation is theft, that's evil, don't vote. When you look at the reality of the situation, there's me, there's thousands, there's probably millions worldwide of other people saying, stop doing that shit. Don't do it. That's evil. Stop it. So that's my point. It's not just that they should know this as an adult. You have the capacity to understand something so simple and so significant and impactful on your life, your family's life, your friend, if you have children, a partner, on everyone else that you know and don't know. It's so significant. But it's not just that they have the capacity to understand. It's that other people are telling them, stop doing this. Don't support someone being burnt at the stake, you fucking manic madman. Like, why do I have to explain this shit? Why? Stop burning the poisonous tires and putting the fumes in the air and giving people lung cancer. Stop doing that shit. You're killing people. You're harming people. Stop doing that. Recognize, identify this oh so obvious causal connection right here. It's right there in front of you. You don't have to be intelligent to understand that. We've got so much history of what happens when people aren't interested in their lives, when they don't care about their lives. Society has such a massive, enormous impact on our lives. Social structure, governance, organization, law and order. How can you not take an interest in that? Communism in Russia and China and Cambodia, Pol Pot, like how many millions of people were killed? What happened in Ireland with slavery and America with slavery, fascism in Germany, all the different types of really, really bad governments that are world famous. But it doesn't even need to get that bad to understand such a simple fact. It's not complex. It's one of the most obvious things in the world. Voting is supporting those bad guys taking without a right from me and you. And if you don't want to be stolen from, they'll hurt you. Or if they're threatening to hurt you. That's wrong. Stop doing that. I'm not saying people are out there to purposefully cause harm. If you walk up to someone in the street and you say, "Hi, Laura, do you want to hurt me?" She's going to say, "No, I don't even know you." I say, "Hey, Laura, do you vote?" And she says, "Yeah, I voted. Yeah. It's like, "Hey, Laura, would you be open to being educated how you actually shouldn't be voting and that, in effect, is hurting me?" "Oh, no, I don't want to hear about that. No, I don't want to understand how voting is actually causing harm. No, I don't want to know." That's the evil. That's the evil. Just because they don't have an intention to cause harm, to go out and hurt you, doesn't change the consequences, the effects, the results. The evil is the omission. That is the primary source of their evil. The intentional omission of understanding the consequences of actions. Saying, "I don't want to know." God, Laura, please, let me help you understand. Let me teach you through some basic examples how this is wrong and you shouldn't be supporting that. "No, I don't want to know. I'm going to keep voting. I'm going to vote in the next election and the next and next." And you get someone who's 40 or 50 years old and they've committed this crime, this heinous crime, 32 times. If they're 50 and they've been voting since 18, once a year, 32 times. It's like if someone was drunk driving 32 times, would you call them a fucking evil cunt? It's like, are you serious? I mean, you say, how have you not killed someone yet? But it's going to happen. Each next time increases the likelihood, the probability of actually killing someone. It's like, stop doing dumb shit. But I mean, with drink driving, you can get away with it. Even drunk driving, you can get away miraculously, sometimes, of actually not hurting anyone. Voting, you cannot! Impossible! Every single time you vote, you are hurting millions of people, including me, you the viewer, and the person who votes. It is an unavoidable, inescapable consequence. That's what you're doing. You're putting your energy and support towards a system which has got GST, license fees, registration, rates, capital gains tax, all the rest, income tax, company tax. It doesn't even matter how good the politician is. If there is taxation, it is evil. If there is no taxation, it is not government. If there is no force, initiation of force, it's not government. A proper orderly system only uses retaliatory force, but government doesn't only use retaliatory force. It primarily uses the initiation of force. That's how it funds itself. I mean, there's all the banking system that goes behind it, but forget about that complexity. That's not necessary to understand the point I'm illustrating right now. So you cannot separate one's actions from their character. You cannot separate what one thinks and what one does. The way one thinks is the way one acts. You can't say, "Oh, they think differently." It doesn't matter. They think differently, therefore they act differently, but their actions have consequences objectively. The way someone thinks objectively affects the way one acts. And those actions have objective consequences in the real world. You can't avoid that. And you can't say, "Well, they didn't mean to cause evil, it was an accident. They didn't mean to do it," but they keep doing it. That means they're an evil person, because that's their character. Their character is made up by all their actions, and their actions are evil. Doesn't matter that if they're good the rest of the time, that one evil action makes them an evil person. Sure, they're redeemable if they stop and they change their ways and they improve themselves and they just do good and strive for moral perfection after that, which, mind you, moral perfection is fucking simple. My goodness, it's fucking simple to be morally perfect. Just stop doing evil shit. Stop hurting people. Stop supporting others who are hurting people. It's not complicated. It really isn't. I'm not talking about total perfection. I'm just talking about moral perfection. That's just the baseline. That doesn't even mean you're really a good person yet. I mean, well, I wouldn't say great. That's just like a basic expectation is to be morally perfect. I mean, that's the standards I hold to myself. Moral perfection is basic. Again, one's character is the summary of all their actions. The way one acts is a reflection. It's the outward expression of what their character is. If they're voting, they're evil. If they stop, well, they're not evil anymore. They change their ways. It's like having someone who's really good and does all these great things, but then they're raping a woman once a year. Or they're doing some other terrible thing once a year. It's like, well, that person's evil. So what? All that good stuff just gets thrown out the window. They're evil. But if they stop doing that and they rectify all their mistakes, they're not evil anymore. They're redeemable. They can change. They can get better. It doesn't matter how bad the things that they've done are. That doesn't matter. As long as they fix them to the best of their ability, some things are obviously a lot harder to fix than others, and stop doing that evil shit, they can become good again. But someone who votes is not good, objectively. It's not my opinion. It's an objective fact. Because, as I've explained, what voting is doing, the actual results and consequences of the actions. And it's showing that someone just does not care. They just don't care about themselves. They don't care about other people. It's showing a conscious disregard for life, just like the drunk driver. A blatant disregard to understand what they're actually doing. And a social structure, a government, it impacts your life in dozens of ways each and every single day. Like, how many times are you spending money and there's GST on that? Just that alone. That's all you need to know. That's affecting you. That's affecting everyone. And it's unavoidable, even if you don't support government and don't support tax, because whoever you're buying something off is charging you GST. So there's nothing you can do except stop voting, stop supporting the bad guys who are scaring those people into adding GST on top of all their prices. It's just like supporting slavery. If you had a slave back in the day or you just supported slavery, that's evil. You have the capacity to understand you should not be doing that. You wouldn't want to be a slave, therefore you shouldn't be doing that to other people. You don't want to be oppressed by government. You don't want things stolen from you. So therefore you shouldn't do that to other people. And if someone doesn't understand that basic thing and they say, well, I'm happy to contribute, that's really bad. That's just delusion. Oh, I'm happy to pay taxes. I'm contributing. No, you're not. You're being robbed. You do not understand the nature of the situation and you are turning such a blind, deluded eye. It's sickening. You're classified as the same species. Like, holy shit, how deluded do you have to be? In a way, I do understand. They're so absolutely terrified, petrified out of their fucking minds. They come up with these schizophrenic, psychotic delusions to try and cope with the cruel, evil nature of this fucking world. So in a way, I do understand, but it's cowardly. Someone who says, I'm happy to pay taxes and contribute to society is a fucking coward, a petrified coward. Toughen up. Have the courage to face reality and stop rejecting the oh so obvious, simple truths that are right in front of you. Stop denying reality. Because that's what it is. It's the acceptance of contradictions, which is the denial and rejection of reality. I'll make a whole nother video about that. how that's the most important thing you'll ever learn in your life, the acceptance or rejection of contradictions. And that's what people are doing when they're voting. They're saying, I accept contradictions. I fuck off logic. Who gives a rat's ass to what's reasonable or not? I'm going to accept contradictions. What I mean very quickly with that is they say, well, I'm not allowed to steal, you're not allowed to steal, but they're allowed to steal. Contradiction. And they're accepting a contradiction, which means they are being irrational. They're not using their rational capacity. They have the capacity, the ability, the capability, however you want to frame it, to think. But they're saying, I don't want to. I don't want to think about it. Too hard. Not interested. I prefer to go play golf. I'm going to go fishing. I'm going to go watch a Netflix show. I'm going to go for a walk at the park. I'm going to feed the ducks. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go drink beer down at the bar. I'm going to play pool. I'm going to play the guitar. I'm going to go for a drive in my race car. I'm going to go hike up a mountain. I haven't got time to learn how voting is evil. How am I meant to know that? I didn't have the time to study that. It takes 15 fucking minutes. Are you for real? And that's all the excuses you're going to give me? Oh, I was busy. I was busy knitting. I was busy building a piñata for my kid's 4th birthday. Oh. I hope you can understand why this makes me angry. It makes me fucking furious. It makes me furious. Because I don't like living in a world where people are willfully evil. They willfully turn that blind eye, deliberate volitional ignorance, willful naivety, conscious indifference, because that's what it is. It's a conscious indifference to society and their effects on society. They're not even trying to understand. Just vote, that's it, I saw it on TV, I don't even want to talk about it. Or maybe I'll look into this political party, that political party. Hey, have you thought about not voting at all? Oh, I'm not interested. That sounds stupid. That sounds like a fringe conspiracy. No, not interested. How would that work? No, I'm not even going to spend 5 minutes thinking about it. Oh, I don't understand how that could work. How we could have peace when I'm not voting for a big group of gangsters to come and rob and kill us. Yeah, I don't know how we can have peace if we don't have people attacking us. So therefore, I'm not even going to think about it for more than 30 seconds. If that. If you're bloody lucky, 30 seconds. Well, in a way, those people deserve what they get, but we don't. The people who do think, who don't want to be oppressed, who don't want to be robbed, we don't deserve this. They may because they're deliberately asking for it, but their actions affect us. They're culpable, they're guilty of crimes. If I had the power to enforce justice, I would, but I don't. All I can do is share what's happening in layman's terms to make it as simple as I possibly can, so that the lowest common denominator, the dumbest person in the world who speaks English, can understand what I'm saying. I'm not deliberately trying to make this complicated. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible to understand. Again, just because someone is not wanting to be evil doesn't change the results, the effects, the consequences of their actions and classify it as evil. The guy burning the toxic fumes every day is not wanting to be evil, but then again, it's like they are wanting that. That's why they're refusing to acknowledge the moral weight of their actions. It is basically, it's near, it's so close to willful malice. It's just a tiny smidgen off to deliberate, intentional attacking other people. It's so close that intentional omission is almost intentional malice. It's just a tiny fraction off. And sometimes I really wonder, what's worse? What's more evil? Intentional malice, where someone is going out to actually deliberately hurt someone, or intentional omission, where someone is hurting others, but they don't want to know and they don't want to stop hurting people. Oh, that's the real question. Which one of those is more evil? Because you can say, well, at least the person who is deliberately hurting people, they're hurting it because they get joy out of it. They know what they're doing, they know it's wrong, and it makes them happy. At least they're consciously understanding what they're doing, and they're not denying the reality of their actions. They've chosen to be evil, they like it. Okay, at least they're fucking honest. At least they're honest. Those other people, they're dishonest. They're liars. They lie to themselves. They're lazy. They're apathetic. They're indifferent. They're willfully stupid and narrow-minded, pathetic, lowly. Oh, that's the real debate. Like, in a way, you can really say those people are more evil. Because they'll be your friend one moment and then they'll backstab you the next. At least the person, the cop, you know you can never trust a cop. You know you can never trust a cop or a banker because you know where they stand. They are overt, explicit evil, willful, deliberate, intentional causing of evil. You'd never trust them. But those other people, you're like, oh, they seem like a good guy in all these other areas. You trust them, but they're going to betray you because of their more fundamental beliefs and actions, which will filter and color through the rest of what they do. To explain that fully, I'll make in some other video how the more fundamental a belief is, it seeps up and affects everything else they do. And it's because at the most fundamental level, they've decided to not be logical, to be irrational, and to accept contradictions. And that colors and taints every single other action they do. But they're a trap, because they will trap you into trusting them. Trusting those people and believing that they are good in some other aspects, because you'll see them do some other good things. You go, oh, surely they can't be bad people. Like, look at them. They seem kind-hearted and generous and all this, but then they're voting. If they're voting, they're going to be doing other evil shit. You can't trust them. It's like the devil in disguise. At least the police and the courts and the politicians and the overt cabal, it's the devil outright. There's no disguise there. The muggles, the NPCs who are voting, it's the devil in disguise. It's the dishonest. They try to lure you in. Oh, anyway, that's getting a little bit cosmological there. The nature of people themselves, if they're real people, NPCs, whatnot. I mean, if they're an actual NPC, well, it's all excused. It's not evil because they're just a computer program, just doing what they're programmed to do. So it's whoever made the program is evil. If they're literal NPCs, and that's probably the best answer, really, because how could anyone be that stupid not to understand what they're doing, voting? This is only for those people who are actually spiritual beings who are still voting. They're the evil ones. If they're just a pure NPC, not evil, because it's just like Microsoft Word can't be evil, calculator app can't be evil, etc. All right, I think that's enough for this video. I hope you have a much deeper understanding. Some of it was probably just repetition from the past 4 videos, but I hope this gave even some more clarity. Well, to summarize, you can't separate one's character from their actions. That's inseparable. Definition of evil currently is causing or supporting cruelty, and government is cruelty because of all the evil things that they do. That voting is intentional omission. And it's not just voting. It could be jabbing your kid. It could be going to church. It could be supporting any other cult-like group of psychopaths. So it's just I was giving you a big example of the voting, but understand the principles here. It's the principles that are important, because then you can apply those principles to any other unique situation where it's very similar. There's a spectrum of evil from support to causation. You can be evil even if you're not intentionally wanting to be evil because of your refusal to understand reality, to dissect the morality of your actions, the refusal to acknowledge the moral implications and consequences of your actions. That is the evil part, because you're wanting not to know. That's the evil aspect. Capacity to understand. People who have a capacity to understand can be held morally, legally culpable of these crimes. And even the lowest common denominator has the ability, the capacity to understand. Say 18 years old, who doesn't have brain damage, has the capacity to understand this is fucking wrong. Don't do that. If you do that, you are evil. If you stop, you're not evil anymore. Simple. Simple stuff. And it's no excuse to say, well, I don't know how society should be run if I stop voting. That's no excuse to stop voting. Stop doing the evil thing, first and foremost. Forget about everything else that comes next. Just stop doing evil shit. That's it. Who cares what comes next? Don't even worry about that. Stop doing evil shit. That's it. But what are we going to do if there's no slaves? Who's going to do all the work? You'll figure that out. In some way that doesn't involve slavery. You'll figure it out. Okay. All right, we're done for today. Bye-bye.